what else is going on with this spy scandal. And I say it's the worst Canadian spy scandal since Igor Guzenko in 1952, I believe it was. And this is unbelievable to me that the Liberal government is so blasé about this on the one hand that they just think, well, it's against the National Security Act to mention any names, to say who these people are. So what we can do is just not renominate them. Okay. Does that mean no one's going to notice which MPs did not get their nomination or were not even allowed to run for renomination? This is just stupidity. We need to know the names of these people. And if somebody committed treason, and clearly this is treason, it's treason, and this is spying, espionage. Let's stop saying it's collusion. It's espionage. It's spying. Just like what went on in that biolab in Winnipeg by those two Chinese scientists was espionage and spying. It wasn't just two scientists not doing their job very well. It was espionage. And what these elected officials named in this report, and let's have a look at it again in a minute here. Yeah, the National Security Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians, NSI COP, the Special Report on Foreign Interference in Canada's Democratic Processes and Institutions. Now, this has been mentioned in parliamentary committees, but you've got to see this to believe it. It's not just bad enough being blasé and we don't really care about this, but to make fun, to poke fun, to be snide because the opposition wants answers is beyond the pale. Let's watch one of our least favorite MPs. Every time she comes on during question period, somebody out there always said, hey, it's so-and-so from Friends. Yeah, and I've started saying that because she comes across as somebody who's completely airheaded. Jennifer O'Connell. Let's listen to what Jennifer O'Connell had to say. I'm going to see if I can read this here. But this is Jennifer O'Connell saying, boo-hoo. And you see, she actually responded. Mercedes Stevenson of CTV was there. And she commented on the fact that O'Connell was sitting there making stupid remarks about the opposition members who wanted answers about these MPs. And I've heard the number 11 bandied about. We're not sure how many. We're not sure how many MPs are actually implicated in this. But I can pretty well guarantee you they're probably liberals because that's who foreign powers are going to go after. They're going to go after government MPs. Duh. So I want to make sure, I want to see this comment here. All right. So Jennifer O'Connell actually responded to Mercedes Stevenson after Stevenson said, the Conservatives demanding release of names, and O'Connell says, boo-hoo, get over it. Jennifer O'Connell actually responds to the reporter, Mercedes, this is a mischaracterization. I was responding to frustrated CPC MPs complaining with points of order because their juvenile theatric attempts to generate dishonest social media clips failed spectacularly. Can you just see this woman saying that? Anyone can watch the interaction to see your claims are false. That's what she said to her staffer. Quick, get out, send something to Mercedes right away. But if you think about this for a minute, folks, think about this for a minute. Do you remember a day when an MP or even a low-level cabinet minister and a low-thinking cabinet minister like Jennifer O'Connell would never be allowed to liaise directly with any media personality of Mercedes Stevenson's caliber and rank in the mainstream media? This is a high-level talking head. Well, I actually have a lot of time for Mercedes. She's done some good work over there. But this is a high-level anchor. And the Liberal Communications Department, the PMO, would not want MPs or cabinet ministers making points directly with journalists this way. So this is another indication that the Liberal government is falling apart. Let's have a little more here. Yes, there she is, going on. She actually, if you can see from this slide here, she actually locked down the comments from the public. They were so bad, she had to lock the comments down. But this is a contemptible Liberal member of Parliament who's totally out of her element.
Minister, I wanted to focus on foreign interference and its impact on diaspora communities, something that Mr. Virani actually touched on in his opening testimony. I know you've spoken about in the past as well.
Point of order, Chair.
Mr. Dennis on point of order.
Thank you, Chair. During Mr. Caputo's round at the end, Ms. O'Connell was literally shouting at him across the floor, and now she's saying, "Boo-hoo, get over it." Respectfully, Chair, I think you should call this member to order. It is a point of order. You're shouting,
Mr. Dennis.
Shouting at another member. No, sorry, I've got a point of order.
Speak to the chair, please.
Great.
I hear your point of order.
Thank
I would
you.
encourage all members to not talk across the table.
Yeah.
Talk
Just
to the
get to the
chair
point.
when they recognize.
Get to the point of order.
It would be helpful to us all.
I hope you call Ms. O'Connell to order, because she wasn't cross-talking. She was shouting in order to disrupt Mr. Caputo's round of questions.
Mr. Gahir, go ahead, please.
Great, thank you, Chair.
Across the floor.
So you can clearly hear the boo-hoos going on here. And this is absolutely outrageous. So who do you think these people are? Textbook treason is how one national security expert described what's going on in this report. But I don't need an expert to tell me that espionage is spying, that spying is espionage, and that spying and espionage together are treasonous. That's what's going on here. So do you think maybe some of these treasonous MPs are liberals? Because they work for the government. And if I was a foreign power, if I was an agent for a foreign power, I would be targeting government MPs and government cabinet ministers, because they're the ones with the most power. They're the ones who can get things done for me. They're the ones who are most apt to have their hands on the mechanisms of power. They're the ones who are most apt to be able to deliver what I want. Opposition MPs, backbench MPs, can't do much for China. Not in a position to do much for China. Government MPs, yeah. Chairmen and chairwomen of committees, even more so. Cabinet ministers, you bet. I've always wondered, the China Council for International Cooperation on the Environment and Development. I'll only put it this way. What the hell is Environment and Climate Change Minister Stephen Guilbeault doing as a member of this council? I'm not making any connections. I'm just asking the question. Because have a look here. Canada's Environment Minister is the China Council's vice chairman. Remember last September, he flew to China to meet with his communist friends? And I wonder what they discussed. Do they expect any favors from Stephen Guilbeault? I don't know. Because I haven't seen the report. It's redacted for members of the public. Justin Trudeau knows. Chrystia Freeland knows. Why do you suppose the Liberals don't want to talk about this report and who these MPs are? Why do you suppose they are actually poking fun at opposition members who are demanding the answers, who are demanding the Canadians have a right to know who these treasonous MPs are? I wonder if they have something to hide here. I can tell you this, that I find it very suspicious that Stephen Guilbeault is a member of this council. And I think that's something that should be looked at very carefully. And I know that at least one former Liberal MP has suggested that Guilbeault is not only a proud socialist, he's a Marxist, and he actually called him a Manchurian candidate.
This is a Manchurian candidate. And for people who don't understand the expression, I'm not talking about the movie. I'm referring to somebody who can be used as a useful idiot by another country to come out and spout these things off. He is a Marxist, and there's no doubt that his comments and his reputation, anybody who's done a bit of research on this man, will come quickly to the conclusion he's the last person you should have in Parliament, much less as a minister. And his jetting off to another country, where I come from, in my generation of Liberals, that would be considered seditious and potentially treasonous.
So I'll let you connect those dots. I'll let you add that one up. I'll leave that to your discretion. Because there's clearly something amiss here. There's clearly something wrong with this picture. And I think Canadians need to know who these MPs are, and they need to know all the facts, because this can't continue in a democratic country. We need to know who in the House of Commons are friends of Canada and who are friends of China or other foreign powers. And don't for a minute believe that these foreign powers named in this report are anything other than China. China is the principal involved. This is not a problem with Russia. It's not a problem with India. Yes, they were named, but the report made it quite clear that the overwhelming villain in trying to entice or entrap or blackmail or buy MPs is China. That's the one thing that report was unequivocal in terms of identifying. They couldn't name the MPs, at least publicly, but they were quite clear as well. If you read that report, and I encourage you to do that, you can find it on the internet. Read the redacted report, and you'll see there's no question that this activity is spying. This activity is espionage, and we need the answers. So I'm going to go to question period momentarily.
Haute Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, last week we learned via the report of the National Security Committee of Parliamentarians that some members had, and I quote, semi-wittingly or wittingly participated in the efforts of foreign states to interfere in our politics. This is an extremely disturbing revelation, which is why we need to know who these members are who are collaborating with hostile foreign countries. Will the Prime Minister, yes or no, reveal the names of these members and the unacceptable actions of which they are accused? The Honourable Minister of Public Safety. Mr. Speaker, I thank my colleague for his question. I'm a little bit surprised because the person sitting next to him, the parliamentary leader, sent me a letter over the weekend suggesting that the HUG Commission should look at these matters, that it was the appropriate forum with the precautions in place. The House is discussing today a motion from our friends at the Bloc Québécois that we will support, and I think it's an important time for Parliament to come together and to support the work of the HUG Commission, and that's exactly what we intend to do. The Honourable Member for Charlesbourg, Haute Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, Canadians expect their government here and in the Senate to work in their interest. I'm pleased to hear the minister's answer, but I'd like for him to confirm if officially the Prime Minister will reveal to Commissioner Ugg the names of elected members and perhaps senators who have been involved in working with foreign states. Will he give the names or not? The Honourable Member of Public Safety. Once again, Mr. Speaker, our colleague should consult the person sitting on his left. He knows full well that the Hug Commission has access to exactly that type of information. The Hug Commission has access to all of the documents that the Committee of Parliamentarians consulted. The government has already been in touch. Privy Council officials have been in touch with the Hug Commission to discuss how we can advance on this matter. This is the responsible way to do things, and to rise in the House and to ask for a list of names to be revealed. He knows full well that's irresponsible, and we won't do that.
They want to bury this.
Finger-pointing exercise of secret committees, or worse, a dismissive boo-hoo get over it from someone who once sat on the very committee that released this damning report. If they won't tell the truth, I'll ask the minister one more time. Will they send every document, redacted, unredacted, with names to Justice Hogue so she can release them?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Security.
Well, Mr. Speaker, it's a shame that the Conservatives want to heckle, and the irony in the fact that they want to misrepresent what happened at committee. Well, Conservatives play partisan games.
Liar.
We are steadfast in focus on countering foreign interference, in putting in place the measures that will strengthen our democratic institutions. Mr. Speaker, it's ironic that the Conservatives bring up the NSICOP committee, a committee they voted against, in fact, also pulled members off at one point. Mr. Speaker, we are going to do everything to ensure that our democratic institutions are protected from foreign interference.
This is the airhead who said boo-hoo. But they finally got her up
The Honourable
to
Member for
tell a
Mégantic-Lérac.
pitiful tale.
The truth, Mr. Speaker,
How
is that this Prime
pathetic this
Minister
country.
has a long troubled history with foreign interference.
Thank you for watching this episode of Stand on Guard and being a part of the Craydens Right channel. If you've watched this episode to this point, you've watched it all. And that's really important for a small station like this. We always say subscribe, hit the bell, be a part of the Crayden resistance. Resolve to resist. That's what we're doing. And if you become a subscriber, if you're a supporter of this station or a member through Substack, through YouTube, and now you can be a local as well, that's so important to us because I couldn't do this without you. I made a decision to become an independent journalist about a year ago because I wanted to bring all of my experience in the military, in journalism, to you. I don't promise anything I can't deliver. I don't offer clickbait. I offer truth. The truth is out there, and it's my job to bring that truth to light and to you. Thanks for being a part of the Craydens Right resistance, and we'll see you again soon.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need a political change, but we also need to resolve to resist